Hello, it's Cherry from Crete. I'm on my jolly bob holidays. John's having a bit of a snooze, and I'd been having a conversation with a wonderful friend of mine, Gillian Ben-Suri, about hip rolls, and so I thought I'd like to share it with you. Can you excuse me? I've been sort of sat here thinking, shall I do it, shall I not do it? And I look fat, and let's face it, we are what we are. So excuse me, this is not a weight loss program. This is just me sharing a little bit of info with you. Let's look at the hip rolls. So I'm talking spine safe exercise training for spine care Pilates teachers. If you are running a mainstream Pilates class, should you really be dealing with people who've got active back pain? We're not talking about back pain in the acute phase, more when it goes into the chronic phase. If you're not sure what that is, we talk about that on the Spine Safe course, or just Google it. I want to talk about hip rolls and how I've changed my teaching of the hip rolls. So I'm going to look at the first thing about when people do it wrong, and it's very often the very person that you want to do the hip roll with that is doing it wrong. Particularly, let's look at missing out on the segmental control. Excuse me, my face is missing. I'm going to bring my ankles and knees right together. How often do we see this? People going all the way over and not getting any segmental control. Abdominals really doming. They're missing out on the mobility where we want it and getting the nourishment into the discs. So if we place the hands on the ribs, spine in neutral, ankles glued together, you're going to take the legs as far as you comfortably can without feeling the ribs move, even at the back of the body. Look at the difference in my abdominal area. I'm not doming the abdominals, and I'm getting the movement more into the lumbar spine. So somebody with back pain, whether they're in recovery, whether they've been sent to you by the physio, whether they've come on their own accord, whether they've been diagnosed or not, we're going to talk about that in a minute. You work within the symptom-free zone. So the ribs are not moving at all initially. Some people will have hardly any range of movement, other people will have more. If their symptoms are not increasing, then you might decide to take the range of movement further. They start to allow the back of the rib cage to peel, but they're still trying to feel as if they are softening the rib cage down. For this phase, the ankles and knees are glued together. They can continue to increase the range of movement, continuing to peel the back of the ribs off the mat within the symptom-free zone, still feeling as if they're trying to keep the ribs slightly softened at the front. So they're going to get more segmental control, they're going to get more nourishment in the discs, they're not doming their abdominals. Looking at people with specific conditions, say if somebody comes to you with sacroiliac joint dysfunction, I would recommend the ankles and the knees glued together, teaching it the same way as we did on the last video, only working in a symptom-free zone. If they find that the exercise is increasing any symptoms, what would you give them instead? I might give them a knee drop. So they would feel like they were doing a similar exercise to the rest of the class, but you'd be working on pelvic stability. Let's look at somebody with a disc problem. Let's look at somebody who's maybe got osteoarthritis in the spine, somebody who's been diagnosed with stenosis like my hubby, or somebody who's got spondylolisthesis. You could try them with the feet together, as we did in the last video, with a chi ball, with a soft towel, a pillow between the knees, not anything heavy like a really heavy yoga block. I do find the bigger balls, the oval balls, are a little bit too big, so you could always deflate them. Try it with, try it without, ankles together. However, if I'm dealing with somebody with stenosis, some sort of disc problems, or somebody who's maybe a little bit older, or somebody who's very stiff, I often find that they prefer to do the hip rolls with the feet apart, using the legs like windshield wipers. Now, if you trained with me some time ago, you'll be going, oh, I'd have failed my exam if I'd have let the feet come apart. Let me share this with you. So I would teach it initially with the feet apart, like windshield wipers. Hands back on the ribs. I don't know if you can see my feet. I'm going onto the outside of my right foot, the inside of my left, and vice versa. I am getting the movement only as far as I can without getting a lot of movement into the ribs. If they feel okay, it is not increasing any symptoms, I would allow them to increase the range of movement. So try it. If you've got somebody new to class, you're doing that exercise, they may be in recover from having some back pain or a back issue, see which one they feel best with. Work on keeping the ribs down, keeping the movement with segmental control. If it feels good, ankles, knees together. That's what we'd eventually like them to do. But it's the one thing that when I try people with one exercise, ankles together, one with the feet apart, I do find people with stenosis, osteoarthritis in the spine, will very often choose to go to the one with the feet apart. I hope it's been useful. Can I show you something? How gorgeous is that?